The modern pole vault is a blend of physics and art. It is really a track and field event at the same time.
You have to have a somewhat level of upper body strength, and you can't be slow, and you have to be able to jump, and it takes a lot of components to go into having a really successful vault.
Trent Francom is perfect for this. Himself, like his event, a mix of brains and brawn, agility and ability, with a little bit of daredevil thrown in.
You just can't have any fear. And if you ever meet him and his brother, fear's not in the Francom name. I mean, they both start with the letter F, but there's no fear in them. And it's you got to have that.
My fiance says I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, and it makes her worried. But yeah, for sure. I like the rush.
Trent's personality is what makes him so good, but it's also what gives him some trouble sometimes. He gives everything 100%. I think sometimes though he tries to give 150%. And in an event like this, you just can't do that. But sometimes the harder you try, the worse it is.
To be his best, Francom has had to find a fine line between aggression and suppression, between thinking and thinking too much. Like swinging a golf club or shooting a basketball or flinging yourself 2 stories into the air.
Better, a little bit.
Sometimes you just gotta get out of your own way and let it happen.
When he would go to a meet, it's about being an athlete. All right, I've created muscle memory. I know what I need to do. I'm just gonna go be an athlete. When he does that, it's impressive to watch.
The best in the nation competes.
Francom always thought he would be a wrestler in college. He wrestled from the time he was a little kid through high school and was a 2-time state runner-up.
Wrestling really made me want to be a competitor, and I loved it. And then the biggest and the hardest part about vaulting is it's a super mental game. Wrestling did a really good job of building and I like to think it did a great job of building a sort of mental toughness and mental fortitude to be able to roll with the ups and downs of vaulting.
In addition to his wrestling success, Francom was a really good high school pole vaulter, one of the best in the Dakotas when he was a Huron Tiger.
My older brother, he picked it up at some point, and I watched him as a little kid, and then one day, just for fun, he dragged me into practice, and I vaulted with him and Dan Thielen a little bit, and ever since then, especially in the beginning, my goal weren't really big, it was just to beat my brother.
In high school, big brother Reagan would set a school record, and Trent would come along a few years later and set a new one. In college, Reagan held the SDSU record. Trent broke that in his freshman year. And last spring, Francom set a new personal best with a leap of 18 feet 4 3/4 inches, 19.5 inches higher than the second best ever at state.
I think I've had better jumps in practice, but that jump definitely was one where I was on a really big stick, and I just felt like I hit it, and I felt like I could be really aggressive on the pole, and I just timed everything up super well.
One small adjustment in the grip or one little change in timing can make a huge difference, and Francom has studied the biomechanics of his event and all that goes into it. The transfer of horizontal speed into vertical launch to temporarily escape the grip of gravity. He and his dad even set up a practice pit in a barn at home in Huron, a project that, like a lot of ideas, was cooked up during the COVID shutdown, although they have had to adjust a few things to avoid any more rafter rash.
I think one vault I took up, and I went straight up and I went right into the rafter, and I was like, hey, something's a little off here, so we ended up centering it between 2 rafters, which worked really well, but as I progressed, there's been a broken light bulb and some other things, but yeah, it needs some tinkering, but it worked really well for its purpose.
And when all that practice and preparation and athleticism and execution come together, it is a thing of beauty.
At the end of the day, it's getting over a bar. But when you see somebody do it and it looks pretty, it looks smooth and just relaxed, it's amazing. Now I've seen some ugly, Scott Huffman, they used to do the Huffman roll. It was cool to watch, but it wasn't pretty, but it was effective. When you hit that vault, your plant's just right, and you swing up just right, and you actually catch the pole, and it helps you out. It's pretty to watch, that's for sure.
The best part of the whole vault is that moment where you let go of the pole, especially if you're vaulting above your grip. You let go of the pole and for a minute you're weightless, and you're just floating up over it. And yeah, that's by hands down the best part of the vault.
Francom has certainly raised the bar in a lot of ways at SDSU. And above all else, he has earned maybe the ultimate compliment from his coach.
He's just a good person. If you had a whole team of him, that'd be the job of the century. No matter what you got paid, that would be the job of the century because it'd be so much fun. He's just a good person.
Well, Francom is a third-generation Jackrabbit. His grandma, his dad, as you heard, his brother, and his cousins all went to South Dakota State University. Francom says he's thought about turning pro in this event, but that decision will wait until his college days are over. He still has the Summit League Championships coming up in mid-May, and then possibly another trip to the NCAA prelims and the Outdoor Nationals after that.
This has been Midco Sports Magazine, presented by Build Your Base with Beef Sports Nutrition and Training Program.